There's a quiet shift happening in architecture schools right now, one that most people in the SketchUp community probably haven't noticed. In my day job, I talk to a lot of architects, people at big firms, small firms, and everything in between. And over the past few years, I've noticed something. A lot of new hires are coming in knowing Rhino and not SketchUp. They're walking into the industry already trained in a completely different toolset, and most of them never even touched the desktop version of SketchUp. That's not just a trend, it's a pipeline problem. Because if this keeps going, in 10 years, we're not talking about fewer SketchUp users. We're talking about a whole generation of designers who don't even see SketchUp as a professional tool. Now, first off, I want to make sure I'm clear. This is not a hate video directed at SketchUp. I love this program. I love modeling in SketchUp. I love teaching SketchUp. But because of this, I'm also invested in SketchUp's success. So I'm invested in the software's development and direction. In my opinion, there are three main things that are driving this possible shift. I want to talk about what they are. Then at the end, I want to explore possible solutions. Feel free to comment down below. SketchUp team members definitely read the comments of my videos, so I want this to actually be a productive discussion. So, how did we get here? Let's talk a little bit about SketchUp's education pipeline. Trimble has built what looks like a great system on paper. Students start with SketchUp for Schools in middle and high school, and then move on to SketchUp Pro or Studio in college, and eventually into the industry. But there's a problem with that, and that pipeline is a little bit broken. SketchUp for Schools, the web version, is a lightweight, simplified version designed to run in a browser. It's great for teaching basic geometry or small classroom projects, but it's missing almost everything that makes SketchUp powerful. No extensions, the performance is slow, it doesn't have the ability to build a whole bunch of complex models. So, what happens? High school students hit the limits of the tool, and they walk away thinking SketchUp itself is a toy. By the time they get to college, they've already had the impression that SketchUp is the middle school modeling program, and professors, many of whom already prefer Rhino, don't challenge that perception. A lot of the time, they teach Rhino instead because it's more advanced, it's connected to Grasshopper, and it's a tool that serious designers are using for serious projects. So instead of graduating with SketchUp as their foundation, a lot of students walk out of college as anti-SketchUp advocates. That's a branding issue that's going to echo for years. But the bigger problem is that some of those students aren't wrong. Because when they open SketchUp for the first time and try to model some of the more complex forms that they want to, it just doesn't have the same capabilities. There's typical 3D modeling tools that are missing, like beveling or chamfering edges. There's no way to extrude curved surfaces natively. There's no simple surface from edges function. You can't create complex curves. All of those things require paid extensions, or extensions that are built by developers that may or may not update them for new versions of SketchUp. I know SketchUp has always tried to be a lightweight, easy-to-use modeler, and I get it, and that's one of the reasons that I love it. It's one of the most accessible 3D modeling programs in the world. But the problem is you're not giving anything for people that move beyond beginners, and they have to rely on an extension ecosystem where they have to buy extensions in order to add typical 3D modeling tools. And that's a problem. And my bigger concern is that somewhere along the way, SketchUp seems to have learned the wrong lesson from its own success. The magic of SketchUp was never that it was limited in order to make it accessible. It was that it made complex things simple to do. SketchUp didn't make 3D modeling easy by stripping out features. It's that it made the whole 3D modeling process easy to approach and learn for new users. That's not by artificially limiting tools, but instead by looking at the way that 3D models are created and finding an easier way to work with them. The reality is, in the past 3 years, there hasn't been a single new modeling tool added to SketchUp's modeling toolset. There's been improvements to existing tools, but not a single new tool for directly modeling the 3D space has been added. And to me, that's a little bit of a problem. And so let's take a look at some of the more recent comments directly from SketchUp's 2026 release video on their YouTube channel. These comments are all directly off of SketchUp's 2026 new release videos. They all have a common theme. It's users asking for more advanced modeling tools, and some of these aren't even that advanced. So things like a bevel and chamfer function are not things that are super advanced in any way. They're available as paid extensions, but you can see how the theme is please add these additional tools to SketchUp so it can be a tool that we can use. There's a clear desire for SketchUp to add more modeling tools, but for some reason this doesn't seem to be SketchUp's current direction. Instead of removing or avoiding advanced modeling tools, SketchUp should be asking, how can we make these powerful features intuitive enough that anyone can use them? They need to make them accessible and easy to use, not just stay away from them and not add them to the program. That's how you stay the tool that welcomes new users, but also keeps advanced users using the program their entire career. So finally, the other reason that Rhino is really popular is because of Grasshopper. Grasshopper is Rhino's node-based parametric modeling tool, and it's a big reason of why a lot of students and architects love Rhino. It's clunky, it's confusing at first, but it is powerful. It lets you build models that react to sliders, formulas, and inputs so that you can test and iterate on ideas fast. It's not perfect, but it gives students something that SketchUp doesn't have, the ability to explore design logic directly in their models. Now, SketchUp has something kind of similar. Trimble Creator is the creation tool that's used to create live components for SketchUp, but it's browser-based for the creator itself. You have to open up a web window inside of SketchUp and have an internet connection for it to work, and it doesn't interact with your current SketchUp models inside of the actual SketchUp workspace, meaning you can't have it draw things along curves or anything like that, making it significantly more underpowered than Rhino's Grasshopper. So, how does Trimble fix this? To me, the solution has 3 parts. Number 1, you've got to fix the education pipeline. Students in high school shouldn't be learning the web-based version of SketchUp. They should be learning the pro version of SketchUp. There should be more resources to help students understand both the power of SketchUp, but also to get them started so that they're comfortable walking into that college experience knowing how to use the program. Number 2, fix the feature problem. Don't be afraid of advanced tools. Just make them easy to turn on and off. Bring in features like bevels, curved face extrusions, curve generation tools, and surface generation natively. Keep them simple and keep them intuitive, but make them available. Make them approachable, because the difference between approachable and limited is the difference between SketchUp being a beginner tool and a lifelong tool. And number 3, take a hard look at Trimble Creator. Make it work inside of SketchUp and make it interact with your models. Turn it into something that bridges the gap between dynamic components and Grasshopper. If Rhino has Grasshopper for power users, SketchUp should have something equally powerful but 10 times easier to use. SketchUp changed the world once by making 3D modeling accessible to everyone, but right now it's at risk of being left behind, not because it can't compete, but because it's not adding the tools users say they actually need. It's not too late for SketchUp to evolve, but it needs to start now. You don't want SketchUp as a toy, Rhino as a tool to become the new reality, because the next generation is watching and deciding what they'll use for the next 20 years. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about what we talked about in this video. This is something I'm obviously passionate about. I'm not intending to bash anyone, but I do think this is an important discussion, because moving forward, I think the decisions that Trimble makes are going to affect SketchUp as adoption long term. So as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.